We are getting connected. Looks like we are now live streaming. Wonderful. Thank you. And welcome, everybody. Welcome to the International Women in Business Mastermind. I am Vihil Vigil. I am your gracious host and a women's empowerment coach that focuses on professional development and business development for women throughout our amazing world. And I'm so honored to be able to connect with another phenomenal woman that's going to be presenting and sharing with us about her expertise as we celebrate Women's History Month. We've had the great fortune of being able to host several women throughout the month on our International Women in Business Mastermind show. So if you're catching us live, please say hello, and I will be sharing your comments with our special guest. And if you have any specific questions for her, please write them or please type them into the chat, and I will make sure to share those questions with her. And we will get back to all questions that are asked after we conclude our program, so we can be sure to circle back with you, which is something I think is very important. So the International Women in Business Mastermind is a program that we started about 5 years ago, simply so we can showcase phenomenal women from around the world who are entrepreneurs, business owners, and who just have a fantastic scope of expertise that they're willing to share with you, simply so that we can combine our knowledge and strengthen our sisterhood of knowledge all around life, business, entrepreneurial pursuits, and how we sort of just manage it all together. So here at the International Women in Business Mastermind, if you are interested in becoming one of our special guests, please reach out and we will connect you with all of the things that you need to know so we can get you in the lineup for being featured on one of our shows. Today, I am very excited to be welcoming Michelle Choairy, and I probably did not get that 100% correct.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
Okay. This wonderful lady is speaker and CEO of Wisdom for Complex Kids and Master Sales Coach. She's going to be presenting with us today how to really ignite your purpose and remember your why. Sometimes when the world gets crazy, we just have to strip it all away and remember, why are we doing this? So I hope that you will really enjoy our program today. Let me give you a little bit of background on our amazing guest, Michelle, and I'm so glad that you are here joining us today. Thank you so much for coming onto the program. I'm really excited to meet with you today and to hear all about your expertise.
Well, thank you for having me. I told you I'm so excited to be here.
So Michelle is a sought-after international speaker. We are honored to have her here on our program. She is a phenomenal sales expert. Through almost 2 decades of medical sales experience, she has been named a top 1% female sales representative in orthopedics. She leads sales teams that have generated millions in revenue for major international orthopedic companies. As the recipient of multiple awards, she is widely regarded by surgeons and sales representatives for her ethics, her drive, and her ability to balance work and family life while consistently exceeding her sales goals, something you definitely need to tease apart for us so we can understand how you balance all of that. She has taught many women in her industry to follow suit in the work that she does. She has also been a mentor to women and men in the medical sales industry, and she is powerfully positioned as a speaker on sales through her proprietary method, Balanced. This proprietary method helps individuals reach their full professional potential while maintaining the value of a fulfilling personal life, which is something we all know can be so challenging. Your top 7 takeaways that we are hoping you're going to be getting out of our program today is, number 1, how to develop and increase awareness over your purpose. 2, remember why you started in your career. 3, understand how to have better boundaries to enhance your personal well-being. 4, learn and understand how to experience greater communication with your peers and your family. 5, keys to happily maintaining longevity in your career. I imagine we'll be talking a little bit about how to deal with getting burnout in your career. Number 6, understand that we all have to be resilient during difficult times that ultimately and inevitably come and go. Number 7, how to welcome and increase prioritization in your life. I think that might be one of my favorites, because how do we really prioritize things that all need to be done right now?
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about how you decided to sort of pivot into focusing mostly on sales, and then how and why you decided to pivot to sharing that knowledge as a public speaker, to help others do the same.
So I have been doing the same job I've been doing for 17 years. I have been sales, and it's in medical sales. I work with orthopedic surgeons. I sell if if you break your ankle, the little plates and the screws that go in your ankle, that's what I sell. So I'm
Oh,
usually
wow.
in surgery, and I am usually like helping the surgeons decide what would be best to go inside your body to fix that up.
Wow.
So I have been doing this for almost 2 decades, like you said, and I I've gone through my ups and downs in my life. And for the last couple of years, I feel like I'm finally finding a little bit more of a balance in my life. And so one of the things that I wanted to share is, hey, I have a very high, like, stress job. I compete with lots of men, and I have been able to actually find a little bit of that balance. And I am not just running stressed, and I don't have the anxiety. And because I have been able to follow these steps that I have, and I just wanted to share because I feel like I can help other women and other even men too. But my focus has been on women because it's I think we are the ones that have so much more that goes on. Like, we are mothers, we are,
Yeah.
so I feel like I can help women.
About how long ago did you shift from focusing strictly on your career to then sharing out and teaching others how to be more, I don't know, more entertaining in their presentation of the work that they do? We were previously talking about, as individuals who are in sales, it's, how well can we entertain our guests, our potential clients? Like, how did you hone in on that?
So, you know, we during the surgery, in the operating room, right? The surgeon is mostly there, concentrated, doing his thing, but then everybody's in the room just focused on him and making sure that he has everything that he has. But a lot of times they there's they're bored. Everybody's bored. And so what do? I tell stories. I tell all of my stories to these surgeons, and the majority of them know everything about my life because, like, from when I had security guards at a hotel come around because I needed to get my kids' iPad chargers out of my car, to they know everything in my life. So we I literally think, and I walk into the room and I say, the entertainer is here. I am ready to give you guys this. So what do you want to hear about today? And sometimes, and that is kind of what we are, right? Like, when you're in sales, when you're coaching, you're giving your client and the other person what they need at that moment. And that is our job. And if it is entertainment, and if it is to make them laugh, we're going to make them laugh. If it is to cry with them, we're going to cry with them. Whatever it is that we need to give these people is what we're going to give them, because we have compassion and we love them. And this is why we do what we do.
Yeah. I I love that. I can absolutely relate where I was in the middle of a coaching call right before we got on our program, and one of the points that my client was trying to make was just the difficulty on balancing, life as a single parent with, being there for her clients. She talked about how her clients were almost like her other children. And so how does she balance all of her children as well as be like the CEO in her business? And number one, our focus for her is to start bringing on staff that she can delegate to. And I think she starts to to talk about maybe your first point. She started to really lose her focus and her really sense of purpose because she's starting to spread herself so thin to be able to manage, her natural born children as well as her other customers and clients who she also considers like her children,
Yes.
with being a professional businesswoman, as well as a business owner, and as an entrepreneur. And she felt like she was just really losing her purpose because her purpose was being spread across all of these different areas in her life. Can you talk to your first point about how that we could really develop an increased awareness over our purpose and not lose sight over that as we, are responsible for so many different areas, from personal to the professional as well?
So one of the things I would love to go into a story because I like to tell stories because I'm an entertainer. So I'm going to tell you a story. Um, about 5 years ago, I I woke up and I went to work and I went into my surgery, and I could tell that I was not on top of my game. I just wasn't. And what happened then was that I was everything was crumbling around my life. I had my work and somebody had quit, so I was doing work for three people. I had to be in the operating room with my surgeon. I had my children at home that they were pretty young, so I had a back then it was a 5 and a 3-year-old. I had to be available, emotionally available for my husband, right? Like, how do you not do that, right? On top of everything else, and you still have to just be, yes, honey.
How do you keep
So
the smile going? How do you
exactly.
keep the entertainer from crumbling under all of the things?
Of course. And so I walked into that operating room and I was I was not an entertainer that day. I had this pit in my stomach, that anxiety that was just killing me. It was I didn't know like what was happening. I had this headache, I kept drinking water, I kept eating, like something is going on.
Yeah.
So finally the surgeon looked at me and he goes, "Michelle, what's going on?" And I said, "I don't know, but I don't feel well." He's like, "Go over to pre-op and get your blood pressure taken." So I went to the pre-op and they took my blood pressure. And it turns out there was about like it was so high that the nurse was like, "You need to go to an urgent care or an ER. Like you have to go because you're about to stroke. You're about to have a stroke because your blood pressure
Wow.
is so high." And
Wow.
so at that moment, I was like, "Okay, you are crazy." Right? Because what is the first thing that women, as women, like the perfectionist women that we are, we say, "No, I can handle this. I can
I
do
got this.
this. What are you
Nothing's
talking about?"
wrong.
No, nothing is wrong. So, but I really like I couldn't I went back into the operating room and the surgeon looked at me and is like, "What are you doing here? Go take care of yourself. Go to that urgent care." So I go in there, I get there, and this physician's assistant comes, he's a young guy, and he comes into the room and he's like, what are you here for? I can tell your blood pressure is really high because they had already taken all of that, right? He's like, are you under a lot of stress in your life? And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Of course I am." I have a family. I have a job. I'm supposed to take something right now, give me something to lower my blood pressure so I can go back to work and I can do everything that I need to do today. He
Yeah.
looks at me and he goes, lady, you're going to have a stroke. You got to slow down. And at that moment, when this person said that and looked at me, and I said, I can't continue to do this. So the way for me at that time, it was my health was so bad, right? It had got to a point where it was I was going to probably have a stroke, really. Like
Yeah.
that is what happens with us. Like your my blood pressure was so high. And I said, I need to take a step back. And what did I do the next day? I said, I am taking a step back. I'm sorry. And one of the things that I have learned, this is one of my 8 ways that I have figured out, is that you have to take that step back and you have to, because if you're in that, you cannot understand what you can fix and what you can't fix. You just want to fix everything. You
Yeah.
just want to be there for everything. You want to be that perfect person. And you just can't do that if you're in it. So for me, it took 2 weeks. I gathered my stuff. I took my 2 kids, and I'm Brazilian. So what did I do? My husband couldn't take the time off. I just picked up my children and I said, we're going to Brazil. And I went back home and I went to my happy place
Yeah.
because I needed to take that moment to learn that I can do this, but I need to prioritize. I need to learn what I need to do first, what I can do. And I feel like the first thing actually is, what do you have control over? You have to decide, you have to know, what can I control and what can't I control?
Right.
And once you have that, then you can say, okay, what is the most important thing? And that is how you decide. That is how you you can actually figure this out, right? That is one of my main points and probably one of the most important points that I make in my balanced um, method is you got to step back and look at what you can control, what you can't control, and then prioritize those things.
Yeah. It's so hard to take that initial step back too, to pull yourself out from the thick of everything so that you can have like this sort of bird's eye view of what is really going on, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that
And
just so
as
hard?
women, we just want to keep going,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Yeah.
just want to keep going. I can do it. I can handle it. I can
Yeah.
do this. For me, it took 2 weeks. I had to take those 2 weeks. I had to remove myself. But it doesn't mean that you have to take 2 weeks. I'm not saying that you have to go to get a leave of absence and do all those things, but you have to have time for yourself. Even if it is one day on a Saturday or take a weekend away, that you are going to shut off your phone, your emails, and you're going to be with yourself. Find find that self-love, that compassion for yourself. And that is probably like, and it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be for 2 weeks. You can do
Yeah.
that in one day, right?
Yeah.
But that is how you step away, and that's how you, if you do that on a regular basis, that overwhelm, that burnout probably won't come, hopefully, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing.
And that leads right into your third key point is that how do we establish better boundaries with our peers and with our families so that we don't work ourselves to the brink all the time, so that we stay on a nice happy level or an even keel? And
Yes.
how is it that you recommend people utilize the ability to set boundaries with their peers with their profession, with their clients, with their families? What do you find that works best for you and for some of the women that you've spoken with?
I'm going to tell you another story. I'm a storyteller. I'm an entertainer, like I was
I
saying,
love
and I hope
storytelling.
that's
It's a
okay.
great way to share your experience and to answer questions. I love it.
So, I about 3 years ago, my company joined with another company. They actually bought out my old company, and so I'm in this very large orthopedic company now. And I I did not know the manager that became my manager at the time. And one day, it was a Saturday, and I remember I was like, okay, kids, let's go to Disneyland. This is going to be awesome. I packed them up, I gave them food, and we were just going to have an amazing day, right? And they decided that they wanted chicken nuggets. And so we went through the drive through at Chick-fil-A. And as I'm going through the drive through at Chick-fil-A, my phone goes ding. It's an email. Ding, another email. Ding, ding, message.
Oh gosh.
Ding, ding, another message. And I lost it. I picked up the food. I went to the parking lot, and my kids in the back, my husband next to me, and I just started crying. And I cannot tell you how many F words I used that day just to describe my manager, right? Because it was my day, and he
Yeah.
was ruining it because I felt like I needed to respond to him, but nothing of it was urgent. And so it's like, why are you doing this on a Saturday? Like, I lost it. My kids actually got scared of me. My husband had to take them out. And I'm like, it was a meltdown. It really truly was.
Yeah, it
And
sounds like
so
it.
I had to like bring myself together. We went and we went to Disneyland, and we still had a good day. And then on Monday, I reached out to him and I said, hey, can we talk? I had already calmed myself down. And I took him in on Tuesday. And if you can imagine, you telling your boss what you needed to do, that's what I was doing. I was telling him, you cannot reach out to me on Saturdays. Weekends are my weekends. If I'm on call, you can call me. But if I'm not, if it's not urgent, leave me alone. And so that was a conversation that I had to have. And sometimes, we want to take these things, but sometimes literally the whole thing is we have to learn to say no. And you can say no to a lot of things. There are things that you cannot say no to, but you have to determine that, you know, long term, what I'm doing and what I'm saying yes to, is this going to long term drown me? Is it going to be, is this going to be beneficial long term? But it goes back to the prioritization, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are your priorities? And those are the ones that you say yes to. But there's certain things and other things that you just have to say no. You just have to. We have to learn to say no.
Yeah. There's an exercise that I did a while back with a friend of mine who, someone that I highly respect, who was also an executive coach. She was running several businesses, and her and I did this small exercise once where she had wrote up like a list of like 5 things, things that she knew that I would just jump on board with doing, that she could ask of me, and that I would, instantly say yes. It was in my wheelhouse. If I wanted to, you know, do some writing with her, if I wanted to be a speaker with her, if I wanted to help coach this program, or, do something, or help manage a group or something. And she walked up to me and was like, I need to talk to you. It's very serious. I said, oh, okay. What's going on? Let's sit down and have a conversation. Let's grab a cup of coffee or something. She goes, okay, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I really need help with all of these things. And I know how busy you already are, but I need to know if you can do these things for me. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Not knowing we were in the midst of like a little game that she was managing, was conjuring up. So she asked me all
Sure.
these 5 questions, and I said yes to all of them. She goes, okay, now we're going to take this conversation and set it to the side. And I'm basically going to pull the veil off over your head. I know that you are extremely busy right now. Now is, my daughter was pretty young still. She was, probably about 4 or 5. And as the sole parent in her life, it was, I take her to school, I pick her up, I cook all the food, I wash all the clothes, so it's like full-time parent as well as, managing a full-time business and working with several clients at the time. And she goes, I know for a fact that if you actually took on all of these things right now and just sort of put your own life on hold, you would be so overwhelmed. So I want you to like sit and think about all of these questions and how you can, in your most polite, professional, but assertive way, tell me no. And I was like, what? Like, why would I do that? She goes, and this was earlier on in my
Yes,
entrepreneurial experience where I didn't, like,
sure.
I would say yes to everything because I wanted the experience and I wanted to be really seen as someone that, could be relied upon to do these things.
For
And
everything.
for everything. Yeah.
Yes,
And
I'm here for you.
yeah.
No matter what, I am
Yeah.
here for
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So over the course of like about a half an hour, we sat there and like role played back and forth after she lifted the veil that she was sort of playing a little trick on me. And she helped me to practice how I could tell her no to someone I highly respected, who I cared about, who was my friend, to
Yes.
someone who I also saw as a peer, as a colleague who I wanted them to respect me professionally as well. And we literally worked on 5 different ways that I could tell her no to doing something. And that small experience just blew my mind. It changed my whole outlook in knowing that it's absolutely okay to put yourself first, your needs first. As women, as we do not like to do that. We like to be always seen as the caretakers and as the caregivers and the providers if we can be, and it just was such a phenomenal experience to be able to do that, to learn how to say no. And I was in my early 30s. I was an adult. I had a lot of experience of business and education and work experience. I had already finished my MBA. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I was in, a very top role in my industry, but I had no clue how to really professionally, effectively, and politely, because I like being polite. It's one of my main things that I like to really adhere to. Is to utilize all of those areas and to say no. I thank you for the offer, but no, I actually can't do that for you right now. And I mean, if for our listeners and for our viewers, have you ever done that for yourself? Have you ever known that you would love to do something? However, you take a moment to take inventory of all of the things you've got going on in your life and recognize that it's not a good idea for you to take on something else and you actually say no. Um, Practice that, right? Like take an
Yes.
opportunity to really practice that. How
Yeah.
how do you do that? How do you effectively realize that you need to set a boundary, um, and you want to do so in a really effective way, without having to wait until you need to have like a come to Jesus moment with your boss, right?
Exactly. So in my job, right, I work on a team, and I am grateful that we have a team, because when you have a team, you can say no and you can get somebody else to help you. So that
You
is
can
another part
delegate.
of, yes, delegating. You can do that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have learned is that with my position in my job, with my life. There are a lot of things that I just can't do. So I will tell you, this is just kind of a little bit outside of the business, but this is in a personal way. My daughter, she's 7 years old, and she's like this. She's very much like me, the perfectionist. She wants to, like she got that Brazilian in her, like she just wants to do everything just perfectly. And she's 7 years old. And so she wants to be a cheerleader. And so we did cheer last year, and we're going to do it again. And one of the things that they came to me was, can you be a team parent? Can you please like help us? And even though I would love to do all those things for my daughter and for the team, I know that if I took that on, I wouldn't be able to do it to the best of my ability. And I would be lacking what I could do at 100%, but I just wouldn't be able to give them that.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, I am happy to help with certain things, but I cannot take that responsibility on. I have a full-time job, and it's a very stressful job. And I am so sorry, but I will help in any way, but I just cannot be responsible for that. I cannot be the lead on this. And so sometimes,
Good for you.
you can
Yeah.
say it politely, just like that. Hey, I cannot take this on, but if you need my help with smaller things throughout this, I'm going to be here for you. So there's a compromise there, right? You can compromise. And so that is a little bit, I think that I found that, have brought a little bit more balance. It was really easy for me to just say yes, 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 yes to everything in my life, because you don't want to disappoint that person.
Right.
But you're either going to not disappoint, but you're either going to be honest and upfront about it, or you're going to disappoint them later because you told them that you would do it, but you can't do it. So, you got to think of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I really, there's lots of areas of my life, my personal life as well, that I could relate to that. You want to be involved, you want to help out, you want to volunteer your time as much as you can, but you can't do it at a detriment to yourself or to the organization that you're wanting to help. Because if you overcommit and then you don't follow through on your commitment, then it's just far worse, than to just recognize with the fact that, maybe your plate is already pretty full right now, but if there are smaller things that you could help out with, that you're more than willing to do so. I think that would be that's a really great way to put it, to say no, to set your boundary, and to say, I could absolutely help with some smaller things, but I cannot take on lead role at this time. Maybe sometime in the future when, I am not so busy in my personal career, but right now I just can't do that. And not to feel bad about it. I think that so many of us, we really want to do something, and then we kind of beat ourselves up over it when we say no. And if that's the case, if you truly are beating yourself up over wanting to do something, but you said no to it, then what do? You look at all of the things that you're prioritizing, right? And decide, okay, can I offload something? Can I open up some space in, my 24 hours that I can realistically commit to this thing that you're asking me to do? And then realistically speaking, if that's just not feasible, then don't feel bad about saying no at this time, because it's okay that we put ourselves first. It's, because we do manage so much, and we want to maintain that management at a high level of efficiency and effectiveness. And so remember that it's all about not, putting yourself at a detriment just so you can help others. You have to, you will hear often, don't pour from an empty cup. Make sure
Yes.
that, you have enough to sustain yourself plus some, before you start giving away your energy and your time and your focus. Tell us
So one of the
about,
things, oh,
oh yeah,
sorry,
go.
go ahead.
Um,
One of the things I was going to say is that, you do not want to let that person down. And so that's the very first thing that you say, right? I don't want to let them down, so I'm going to say yes. But you will at some point later on. If you can't do it, you will end up letting them down anyway. So just be honest,
yeah.
honesty, and it's just, that's what it is.
Yeah,
So
being willing to just be open and honest about it and say, this would be a great opportunity for me, and I love the idea of it, but it's just not realistic for me and where my life is at right now, and not feeling bad about it.
yeah.
Let's so we've talked a little bit about, having really great awareness over your own purpose, how to really focus in. And I like the way that you mentioned also to remember why you started in your career, remember why you're doing what you're doing. Um, Understanding how to have better boundaries with others so as to not put yourself at a detriment. Um, how can you describe to us what the next level of experiencing greater communication with everyone, peers, your family? Oftentimes we'll say just have better communication, but I like how you noted experience better communication. Can you
Uh-huh.
expand a bit on that?
Sure. The way that I like to look at communication is that it's kind of a language, right? You have to learn that person's language. And
Mhm.
so when I came here from Brazil, I had to learn how to speak English so I could communicate. And so, and I had to put a lot of time into that, and I had to get to know that person. So communication is the same way, right? You have to learn to speak that person's language. Some people that you work with, they're going to be straight to the point, and you just bullet point the things that you need to communicate to them.
Mhm.
Other people, you have to sit down and you have to, how are you doing? Let's talk about your life a little bit. Let's get into that. But then, if you understand that person, you will have a different experience in communication. Sometimes we're so busy and we just put that off, and we just think that the way that we communicate is the way that they communicate. But that's not true,
Right.
right? And so, excuse me. So if you take the time to get to know that person, to communicate that way, to understand their style of communication, you will get so much further along than you would if you didn't. I and so, some of at work, like, I have to understand how to communicate with my manager. What is his style? He is lists. Okay. Others, like the people that I work with, and it's like, okay, we'll get to the point here, but let's kind of, go into depth on how things are going and all that kind of stuff. So it's about the other person's communication style and not necessarily yours.
Understanding the best way to communicate with others can help us in so many different facets of our life. I know with the communication style I have with my mom is very different from the communication style I would have with a peer. Is very different from a communication style that I have with various of different peers. Some of my colleagues and peers, we can jump on the phone. We take about 2 seconds for what we like to call niceties, and then we're right into business. Others
Yes.
need to be warmed up, and they need more nicety. They need to be asked, how was their day? How are their children? How are things going in life? Because if you don't sort of lean in to their communication style, then your message could so easily get lost. And
Yes.
for some of us, that's very difficult to do because I like to be very bulleted. Boom, 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 boom.
So do I. So do I.
Yeah.
But you have, like, there's, if you send that to somebody who wants to, how's your day going? They're going to look at it and they're going to be, that B just sent me another email with bullet points for me to do, right? Instead of like, and so it makes them not want to do what you're asking them to do.
Yeah.
So you, yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. If you
Yeah.
want better communication, you have to learn their language.
Yeah. So my daughter is going to be 11 next week. And I realized something not too long ago that, I operate on a pretty high level. I can manage several things happening all at once. And I could, I'm a pretty good, effective multitasker.
Sure.
But I can manage the thoughts of many things at once. My daughter, who, bless her soul, is not even 11 years old yet. So when I like fire hose her with requests, and it shouldn't surprise me that she only got the first two on the list, or the first one
Yes.
on the list, not even completely, when it's like, clean your room, make your bed, put away your clothes, go wash your face, brush your teeth, get your hair done, tie your shoes, put on your socks. Like, whoa, to me, that makes sense,
You can do
you
it.
know?
You can do it.
Like, you could do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And my daughter's looking at me like, okay, I'm going to go brush my teeth. And, that's about all she got out of the list. And
Yes.
for a while, because she's my only child. And so it was like me learning to communicate with her figuring out how to communicate with me. And, and I was talking with her, like I would talk with, like a very close friend, where I could just kind of fire hose them and they would grab it and go. But she definitely is, granted, she's only going to be 11 and she doesn't have the life experience, that I do. And but you have to realize that whether you're speaking to a child, or whether you're speaking to another adult, or a superior, or, a peer, that the way that they receive information might not match up to the way that you deliver information. You can't expect to fire hose everybody if they like to have, a slow trickle of information.
Yes. Yes.
And that was something that I had to realize, and then cater my communication to her style of receiving information. And sometimes we don't want to do that. Sometimes we just want to like step in, open the fire hose full strength and then walk away and
Yes.
then expect everything to be done when you come back. And we can't do
Yes.
that.
Mm-hmm. In
Yeah.
sales, we call it, I just threw up on the surgeon because I just downloaded, wow, everything that we wanted to say without even like listening to what it is that how I could help that person. So that's just one of our, sayings. Yeah, don't just throw up on the surgeon, like take a step back and listen and wait before you do that. So
Yeah.
just don't do
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Yeah. Take the pause, take the opportunity to pause, and
Yes.
see how that other person is going to, either approach you or respond.
Yes.
And getting to know the people that you're talking to, I think, is just, it helps us in so many different ways. Not only in our own career, but in our family life, our personal relationships. I want to move a little bit through the last three key points that we talked about being covered in our conversation today. We're getting close. We got about 10 more minutes of conversation time, and I wanted to just briefly touch base. So what are your keys to happily maintaining longevity in your professional life? Like we had said career earlier, but let's just say professional life. Like how do you
Mm.
how do you happily maintain that longevity?
So I came up with 8 things. So the first thing is you're gonna have to go back to basics. You kind of have to, you know, find find your why, find your purpose, find remember like what makes you happy. You have
Yeah.
to out what's working, what's not working, taking a step back. We've talked about that. We have to do boundaries. And I think that a couple of things that we did not touch on is one is personal time. I think we talked a little bit about that because when we take time away, but it's actually more into what do you how do you what do you do to your for yourself that makes you happy, right? It's what we were talking before was taking a step away so you could look in and to prioritize. But this is more like, what can I do for myself? Like if you don't learn self-love, compassion for yourself, that you can't continue either, right?
Yes.
Um, one other thing that was a big thing to me is you have to have a team. You have to have a village around
Mhm.
you. You will never be able to do everything on your own. And it's being at home, being at work, being, at whatever you're volunteering at, anything. If you don't have a team around you, a team that's going to hold you when you are falling apart, that is going to take in and step in, or they're going to be there to help you figure out where to go next. You cannot do this. You
Yeah.
can't. So, having a team around you, in the personal life and work life. I go into a lot of how to develop uh, me into our work environment, right? One of the things that I do is I call them kids now because I'm so much older than the people that we're hiring these days. So we hire my kids and then I mother them and I say, okay, you are going to become a mini me. So you're going to shadow me for everything that we're doing because I want you to be able to do what I do if I need to step away. So that is how you create that longevity in your life, right? You have to
Finding that
have those,
balance.
finding the balance.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like yeah. What came to mind what came to mind is like you can't be the only one giving yourself hugs.
No,
Whether it's
you have
personally or professionally. You can't be the only one.
exactly.
We can't operate in a silo. Um, we have to share out with our friends, with our families, with our colleagues, where we're at and what we're doing, so they can encourage us, or so they can be a
Yes.
sounding board, off of
Mhm.
some of our ideas or some of the things that are bothering us or some of the things that are, that we're feeling are weighing us down. We need to have those soundboards, and we need to have that supportive village. I like the way that you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have that, you can't, there's no longevity on anything in your life. You can't do it.
And
So,
then talk a
yeah.
little bit about how you could be, on how to be, and the importance of being resilient in difficult times.
So resilience comes from tenacity, wanting to be there. And um, I think that when you look at your purpose, why you started, why you do these things, that will make you resilient because you will always be able to remember why you started and why you're doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I look at my job and honestly, like, there are days that I just want to say I'm done. I can't do this, I'm done. But then I remember that I have a family that I need to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
I need that insurance. I want to be able to go on a vacation with my children and take them to a nice place. So I remember what I'm doing these things for. And that helps me be resilient because I won't just let it all go.
Yeah. I have a like a task that I give a lot of my clients when they're going through a time when they need to remember their abilities to be resilient and they need to remember the things that they have already done is I have them write up 50 of the things that they have accomplished in their life. And at face value, it seems, oh, that I could probably do that. You know, most of my clients are in their mid 40s. Some of them are a little bit younger, but most of them are in their mid 40s. So I'm thinking, look back on your life and 50 things that you have accomplished that you are really proud about accomplishing. Write them down. It's one of the first pages in the latest planner that I published. And they'll get like to 15 or 20. And then they're like, I don't know what else to write. And so you
Yes.
have to kind of like tease apart their life and remind them, look at all these amazing things that you have accomplished. And don't forget them. When you finally get that list of 50 things that you have thus far accomplished in your life that you are so excited about, you tear that page out of the book and you slap it on the wall so that you, whenever
Yes.
you are,
So it's in your face and you remember that you are amazing.
yes,
Yes.
yes, because sometimes we don't have people as our cheerleaders or as our, accountability partners or as our coaches right in our ears all the time, reminding us of how amazing we are. Yes, we absolutely can accomplish phenomenal things. And yes, life does get hard sometimes. And it's in those difficult moments that you have to remember how resilient you are. And you do so by you looking back at who you are to the core and what you have already accomplished and knowing I've already done this. And a lot of that was really hard. But you know what? I can move forward and do this. And some of that's going to be really hard. But if I can do this, I can do that. And if someone else can do that, why can't I do that too? And it's really just being open to the possibility that yes, things
Yes.
will be hard, but anything can also be possible. And to ask for
Uh-huh.
help if we need it.
Yep. That's where that village comes in, right? That's where that village
Yeah.
comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle, I want to thank you so very much for your time. This hour just like flew by. I really appreciate this conversation. It was so wonderful to have you in the same room for a little while and to listen to your ideas and to listen to you go through your experiences. For our audience here at the International Women in Business Mastermind, do you have some closing thoughts that you would like to leave us with?
I will tell you that if I can do this, you can do it too. If I can find this balance in my life with everything that I do and everything that happens, that with my family, with my job, my high stress job, with all of these things, you can do it. I know that you can. And one of the things that I am in awe of are these women that come here, they show up, they listen, they are doing their work, they're taking care of their mental health, and they are finding coaches that are going to help them keep that going, like you. And I I'm in awe of these women. So thank you for listening. Thank you for having me. It's been so fun. I I am happy to come back any other time. So just
Okay.
let me know. We will, if you could, we could probably put my website and my,
Yes.
but I would love to, if you want to, I have a list of the top questions that I ask for you to find your purpose. And
Okay.
I also have what works and it doesn't work, and my balanced sheet. So if you guys want to email me, it will be Michelle's top 5 questions at gmail.com.
Oh, that's
I made
good.
it
I
really
like
simple.
that.
Yeah. So Michelle's with an S. So Michelles, top 5, the number 5 questions at gmail.com. And then I will reply. You'll get those things. And then I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll follow up on the on Facebook too. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you have.
That's awesome. I love that you created an email account just for this line or just for this set of programming. One of
Yes.
the things that we say here at the Empowerment Empire is through collective collaboration, we all rise. It's kind of like our mantra. And I love that you pointed out that if I can do it, you can do it. If she can do it, you can do it too. And it's all about utilizing that village that is clearly here for you. And I know that it's hard to ask for help. I know that it's hard to raise your hand and say, you know what, I need that. I need that in my life. And it's time to sort of put aside those reservations and do something that's going to be great for you. And that's by asking your tribe, asking your village, asking people who you see as someone who has accomplished something that you want to also accomplish, and saying, hey, can you help me or can you offer me some advice? I'm trying to do this and I see that you did this. Can you offer me some advice or direction? I mean, we can't operate alone. And that is one of the big goals for the International Women in Business Mastermind, is just to share knowledge and insight and experience of phenomenal women like Michelle, with amazing women who choose to watch our program. And if any of you phenomenal women out there catch some of our conversations this month during Women's History Month here in March, please reach out if you're interested in participating and sharing, because all through the year, every month, we host an International Women in Business Mastermind conversation where we bring to you phenomenal women like Michelle, willing to tell their story and some insights at no cost to you. Typically, so many of our speakers are paid thousands and thousands to get on stage. And this is an opportunity to have some free conversation when, you just need to find some other women to talk to. So please reach out to us. I will put the link for Michelle's information in all of the different areas that we present this program. The YouTube video will be linked out fairly shortly here. So you can go to the Empowerment Empire YouTube channel and watch all the videos of our program that have been posted over the years, as well as get links to all of our speakers' information. Michelle's website and email address to be able to get the questions will also be listed there. So happy Friday. Thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us. And I look forward to connecting with you again very soon. We'll definitely be reaching out. And I really appreciate your time here today on the International Women in Business Mastermind.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.